All right, so I was driving into the office and I was listening to one of my favorite people, Sharon Srivatsa. If you are not already listening to one of his mini podcasts, you totally need to be doing it. Whether it's 10X Wisdom or the Business School podcast, I love that guy. He's amazing. And you've probably heard him on our podcast before, and we're going to have him again soon. But he was doing a podcast episode on kind of the three types of people: the professor, the teenager, and the third grader. And in the episode, and I'll make sure I put it in the show notes so you can go check out this episode and know more what I'm talking about. But he was kind of giving the example of maybe some best tips when talking to somebody, whether it's in politics or cryptocurrency, and I'm going to apply for our world, infinite banking or passive income, is how do you know who you're talking to? So how do you know how to engage that person in conversation? And he would say the professor would be someone who has been researching this for years. They are well adept at all the different details and all the different issues regarding the subject matter, and could probably speak from a very balanced point of view on lots of different subject matters in that issue. And whether or not they lean one way or another, that's irrelevant. They will be able to have maybe a balanced conversation. And so if you're an expert in the subject matter, you love to find other people who are experts in the subject matter. So maybe you guys can nerd out or whatever it may be, or spar, right? Like I love getting in conversations with investment advisors who are so dead set that accumulation is the best strategy, and I can explain to them why I think their idea is wrong. And no matter what, it's if they've been doing the business for a long time, not that they just got in the business yesterday, graduated college, and now they're an expert kind of thing. But if they've been doing it for a long time, I kind of have fun in that conversation, and we can walk away still as friends because, hey, look, both of us are maybe we love our own position, but we can respect the depth and understanding and knowledge that the other one possesses. If that makes sense. But now, what Sharon was saying in the teenage world, usually, and he gave this example from like politics, they're one issue voters. Like there's one specific issue that they hold to, which probably overgeneralization, but the majority of Americans, you would say, probably vote one way or another just because of one specific issue. And I think that that's a lot of what we see in the finance world too. There's one specific thing that people adhere to as the reason why they do whatever they do, and not super knowledgeable on all the other issues. So if you were to get into a conversation with them, while that one topic comes up, if you hit on that topic, they may get super emotional. He was using the example of a teenager. I've got several teenage daughters, so I totally relate to that. That, you know, it may get it to be really heated. You might not have as much fun in that conversation. You may walk away kind of dumbfounded by, wow, that didn't go the way I wanted it to. But also knowing that one person doesn't have a lot of experience in the breadth of everything that may be going on. The third category of person that he gave was a third grader, right? Now, I love third graders. I have some young kids, and I understand that, you know, their simplicity in the way they think of the world is sometimes fun. They have this ideological, utopian viewpoint on things. But as it relates to certain issues, they probably have very little, if any, understanding of what's happening. And those people, a lot of times, either fall in two camps, what Sharon said in his podcast. They either fall in the camp of they pretend that they know everything, or they absolutely know nothing. And I think a lot of times we, unfortunately, can be swayed by people who know nothing about something who pretend to know a lot. And I'm just going to apply this to the infinite banking world. And I've heard this many times over the years, and our coaches, when they get people who call in from listening to the show or listening to videos or whatever it may be, and they're super pumped, they're super excited, and they're going down the track of, hey, I want to become financially free. I want to get more passive income than I have monthly expenses. I'm really interested in the concept of getting my cash at work. I know that's an obstacle. I got to get my cash under my control, and you're telling me infinite banking is the best way to do that. And of course, we need to kind of challenge that belief a little bit because it's totally foreign to us. So we call some friends of ours, we ask for their opinion, and unfortunately, they may not be the professor in the relationship, right? They may be a teenager, they may be, even worse, a third grader. And here's the tip. here's the tip that Sharon gave in his podcast. I'll make sure I get the podcast into the notes. That way you can go listen to it. He does a much better job of explaining than I am. I don't think he was driving when he was doing it, by the way. But here's what he said. He said, ask the question in anything, regardless of the subject matter. When you get into this, just to know who you're talking to, ask them, how long have you been following us? And their response will give you a good indication of who you're talking to, right? Someone who says, well, man, I've actually been following this for years upon years, and I've really studied it and looked into it, and maybe even are doing it, right? That would give you a pretty good indication that this person would be in that professor category. Or if they say, well, I've looked into it for a little bit, and whether I did it or not, or brand new into it, and here's what I know. Maybe a teenager, right? Or the person who says, I don't even know what you're talking about. I can't even spell infinite banking. Then obviously that would be the third grader approach. I think that's just a wise question to ask of those in which you're trying to gain advice. While someone may be a professor in one subject matter, they may be a teenager or a third grader in another. And no matter what the subject matter is, know who you're talking to, so at least the information that you're taking from them, you can take it with a better understanding of their point of view. So, hope you enjoyed this video. Have an amazing day.